So let us talk about, I promise that we want to talk about black people creating their own communities. And I said that I've done an assessment. I'm looking around at the whole American empire, British Empire, is the Europeans and the Americans who created their own community. It's an economic system, it's a political, religious system. Another powerful one is the Muslim one. It's based on religion, but it's also political and it's also economical, to understand. So uh, you discover that when you come to South Africa, like when you come to Cape Town, you will discover that because of apartheid, the English whites and the Afrikaner whites are well established communities. They used apartheid, they used oppression, they used all sorts of means to establish themselves, to come up with their own communities. It's an economic and political system that they hold, and they keep it to themselves. Racism isn't about hating black people. Racism or white racism is actually about keeping the community of whites. It is their community that they build. They want to keep it for themselves and their children to secure the future of their coming generations. So when they do not want you to stay in their complex, they don't want you to participate in their business. When you make washing powder and you go to Pick and Pay, you want them to sell it. They won't sell you your washing powder if you're black, because you are messing up with the system. The system is created for white people. If you are white and you just buckle the water, just take buckle of water from the tap and close and go to Pick and Pay and say, I've got shitty water. Can you sell it for me? Shitty still water. They'll put it there. Shitty still water is gonna sell. Why? Because you are white is contributing to that um, economy. Okay, that is a closed economy that they create. And that those are the white people. In South Africa, it's very interesting that another group of people that never relied on the government and didn't rely on white people mostly are the Muslims and the Indians. The Muslims created their own system. It's based on the religion and it's economic. And politically they seem silent, but they're not really silent. They are actually behind the doors. Through ANC, they sponsor ANC, but you'll never see them in front. You know, you had Jason Duarte, but those are the few you have people like Abraham Rasol and stuff like that. But the majority of them stay at the back to eat the money, to make sure that the political system works on their favor. And you see them in parliament all over the place, but they're not too loud because they're not interested in being celebrities. They're interested in building their own system, which is a good thing. It's a it's a commendable thing. Okay, which I think is a system that black people should have copied from. You see, but the good thing about the Muslim system is that it is also based on the religion. Their religion, I mean, it teaches some good tenets. By the way, some of them, their areas are safer, and their children grow up with that kind of moral compass that black communities have failed to instill in their own peoples, because they do have that moral compass. Religion teaches what you call it, order and discipline. Therefore, they are able to incorporate that in their businesses, and then they are able to grow as a community because they are actually uh, they enforce that using religion. So the black people have failed to use religion to their own advantage. Uh, First and foremost, is because first of all, the black man's religion, which is a traditional African belief system, was disrupted by the advent of Christianity. All right. Now, when Christianity came into Africa, there was a problem right there. Because those that brought Christianity into Africa, they didn't tell people the whole story. In fact, they spoke half truths and some lies. It will surprise you that the Old Testament only came in the 1940s to Africa. All along, they were bringing only the New Testament, so that black people would think that Jesus is a white. He is a white God. Yet the Old Testament, actually, Abraham is African. The Old Testament is a story of black people. All the prophecies and all the suffering, what the prophecies that God speaks to Isaiah, to Jeremiah. If you look at historically, the only people that qualify for that prophecy is black people. And the white people knew that. So because they knew that, they came with half truth, brought the New Testament so that you do not know where the New Testament comes from. It comes from your ancestors. So when we black people worship or believe in our ancestors, we don't understand that that is actually biblical. It is coming from the Old Testament. In the Old Testament, God used to speak of, I am the God of Abraham, I'm the God of Isaac, I'm the God of Jacob, I'm the God of your ancestors. So the concept of ancestry, worship or respect actually comes from God, because when God brought it first, he was referring to himself, trying to identify himself with the ancestors of the people that he was engaging with. As he met Moses for the first time, he says, I'm the God of your ancestors. So as you can see, information as it is passed down the generations over thousands of years, it changes a little, and changes even more as time goes on. So now black people think that we are worshiping ancestors, but that's not the original idea. The original idea was God coming to people, identifying himself as the God of your ancestors, not people coming to God through the ancestors. You understand? So now the message is, we are going to God through the ancestors. But the original message was God coming to the people, identifying himself through the ancestors that used to worship God. That is why you see that all over the world, the only people who now worship ancestors are black people. It's actually an indication that this culture that they have is rooted in the old Abrahamic times. In the same breath, it is black people who still circumcise. White people do not circumcise. They don't have a history in Europe of circumcising, even in Asia. Why? Where do black people get that circumcision from? They get the circumcision because God gave it to Abraham. So when the white people came to invade Africa with Christianity, they deliberately made sure that so Africans do not know about the Old Testament, because if the Africans were taught Old Testament, when white people came with the Bible, the Africans were going to identify themselves with the Old Testament, and they will know that actually Jesus Christ was the savior of Africa, was the savior even of black people. In fact, more specifically for black people, but more generally for everyone else. To get the story. So your colonizers knew very well that that is gonna be problematic if these people know who they are, if they know their identity, because identity is a very critical issue in colonizing people. So they begin to colonize you in the head. If you attack someone's religion, someone's belief system, you have conquered them. So black people's religions or belief system was very much scrambled, in that sense that they thought that the African tradition and the Christian religion are two different things. That was a lie taught by the white people. In fact, both of those things are historically one and the same thing, because the roots of Christianity is Abraham, and the roots of African traditional practices is also Abraham. Therefore, we are actually have been lied to, and the reason why we were lied to or were deceived by white people is so that they can destroy our religion and they can conquer us, as long as we are destroyed mentally and religiously, as long as we do not know our God. Because you see, what is gonna make any people succeed is their God. First and foremost, that is the fundamental reason why people succeed, why societies fail. You see, if you read the Old Testament, it was about God of Israel against gods of the Amalekites, God of so and so. So they knew that once you identify with the God of the Old Testament as black people, that God of the Old Testament will help you fight the white enslavers and they will be destroyed. So they didn't want you to know that. They taught you about Jesus, who is a white Jesus, who is their God, another lie, to understand. Therefore, that is why now when we get to know when they brought the Old Testament, it was already too late because we already believe that Jesus is a white God. And it is taking the revelations of God now, 2020, for us to realize that, oh, by the way, this is us. Another indication that actually the Old Testament is a black people's religion is when you see uh, the sacrifice of animals. Tell me which culture in the world sacrifices goats, sacrifices cows. White people in Europe and in America and wherever, they don't sacrifice goats, they don't sacrifice cows. Now, if the Old Testament came to Africa 60 years ago or 80 years ago, who taught black people to sacrifice cows to their gods? Who taught them circumcision? Who taught them about the God of our forefathers, the God of our ancestors? All of these three things are in the Old Testament. But the black people had supposedly had not been in contact with the Old Testament, but they've been having these these practices for hundreds of years, and having these practices for thousands, hundreds of years without actually contact with the Old Testament. Isn't it amazing that they tell us that the first time we met the Old Testament was 8 years ago, yet for thousands of years we've been practicing things in the Old Testament and nobody else has been doing that except for black people. So tell me something really. Do you not see a clear picture that the God of the Old Testament, the Jehovah, the Yahweh who met Moses in Africa, by the way, and he met Moses in Africa, isn't it that very clear to you that the black people of Africa are actually the ones that God was speaking to through Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses? The whole shenanigans, the whole story is actually an African story, and there's no any other culture in the world that can claim that. That is why the Africans and the black people, they have been a target throughout the centuries by all the other cultures, so that they will be destroyed mentally, they'll be destroyed even religiously, be destroyed so that they do not get to know their God. You see, the Bible talks about people who do not know their God, people who forget their God. One of the ways of forgetting your God is not knowing. Remember, my people perish for they do not know. My people perish because of the lack of knowledge. You see, black Africans perish because they do not know that Jehovah, Yahweh of the Old Testament, is actually the God that their ancestors were talking to. It's the very same God of the Old Testament who prophesied about Jesus. Therefore, when we speak about Jesus Christ, the Messiah, he is fundamentally the Messiah of black people. He is the Messiah of black people. Understand? And generally it's for everyone, but fundamentally it's for black people. And that is why the whole black race has been under siege, not only for centuries, but for millenniums. Why? Because there's something special about it. What is that special thing? Is that all the gods of this earth and the gods of these planets around here had never seen Yahweh. Yahweh was a peculiar God, understand? Because Yahweh is the real one true God, is the most high God. So all these other weaker gods, all these other lower gods who try to raise themselves in front of Yahweh, they saw that, oh, so these black people don't know this God is bigger than us. Let us strike them. So that is why now, even though they now know that Yahweh is God, but they will make sure that those that knew Yahweh first will never know Yahweh anymore. So they will confuse your brains. And so black people, the first port of call for us to succeed as black people is understanding and comprehending that this Yahweh who met Moses and the Amadlozi that you actually are singing to, I actually have got the one in the same root. So there need to be a reconciliation, therefore, first with the black church and the black traditional religion, so that we do get to understand that historically, actually, we're actually one and the same thing. Though some of us now we get to know Jesus via white people who teach us that Jesus is white, and some of us know our Jesus through the traditional ways, the way we know our God, our Muari, Umlimu, to understand that our enemy is trying to confuse our heads. And now, as we unpack all of these things, we do not need to appeal to our enemy to make us understand why it's like this. We need ourselves. As I told you that we do not need to please the doorkeeper. The gatekeeper will not let you in. Even if they come up with with suggestions, you don't fit the bill, you are lacking this. Because tell me something, well, they are always going to find something lacking in us. Do you know why? Because they do not want to let us in. They know that we are better than them in so many things, but they do not want to let us in for that mere reason of that they just don't want to let us in because it's a war to them. That's why I'm saying we dig the earth and get inside. If they don't want us to get inside, if you don't want to dig the earth, we build a whole new thing altogether. So don't be afraid of getting your hands dirty in other instances to build a whole thing, a whole new thing altogether, because that is where ultimately it's going to have to get to, because you will not be given an opportunity. I somehow get to like that aspect because in a way, you begin to be molded as a person into somebody of value, because you're not looking into some saviors, into some people to finally recognize me, like, oh, please recognize me. So this concept I'm saying requires you not to be somebody who is seeking validation in such a way that if you are not validated, therefore you are rendered useless and insignificant. Not that you do not seek validation at all, but if they do not validate you, if they do not value you, it doesn't mean that you're not valuable. If they say you are useless, it actually means that you are useful, but they just want you to think that you are useless. They're just closing the gate. They're the gatekeepers, and their job is to make sure that you stay out because you are too brilliant for them. You've got too much of a light. You are too enlightened that they are scared that your enlightenment can be so disruptive that their lie is going to be exposed, that their oppressive nature is actually going to be demolished, and you will find freedom, and you will not be their slave anymore. Not only you, but you will also free your whole community from their slavery mentality. Therefore, they will lose slaves and they will become normal people. Come out of them, my people. I hear the Bible say, come out of them, my people. As we can see, that now therefore demands a paradigm shift in the way that you think. And I said in the earlier video that some of my black brothers and sisters that I've been talking to, like, I talk to them on purpose just to try to gauge their mind. I begin to see that they still have that fear, even the fear of success, because they have now been defeated religiously, defeated politically, defeated economically, so defeated socially that they begin to think that white people are superior than them, or maybe Indians or colors or whatever, they're more superior than them because they're black. Like that's and therefore, even if you come up with a simple idea that you can do this, they do not believe in themselves. They can actually do the job of a white person, even if that thing is owned by a white person, they will easily do it. But if we say be the owner, they do not believe that. They don't have, it's not the ability to do the work that is lacking. No. Lack of a paradigm shift, a change in mindset, the change of understanding that, you know what, I can own things, I can do things. I mean, take it from me, I'm still doing my YouTube channel. I don't care that I've got 2 views. Do you know why? Because the value of this channel is more valuable than most people who have got hundreds and millions of views of themselves twerking. Who cares about your ass twerking? How is it gonna help us? How is it gonna build our community? Because we're gonna watch it for 30 seconds and then move on to the next thing. Who cares about cat videos? Because we're just gonna say, oh, cute cats, and then we move on to the next thing. Who cares? You see, do you understand what I'm talking about? But then the things that are of value, that are timeless. Anyway, are worth pursuing. Therefore, the gatekeepers are not only people that are in the outside world, but they are also thought systems that are deeply embedded into your own mindset. Because when you yourself think in terms of incapability, thinking in terms of it being incapacitated, or thinking in terms of inadequate or not good enough, you will really never go far. Because in these instances, it's not somebody outside telling you that you're not good enough. It is voices in your head telling you that you're not good enough. Therefore, you should not do this. To understand? But when the voices say that, it's because they look at the circumstances. The voices show you the circumstances around you. Thank God for the Old Testament and the New Testament that says we don't walk by sight, but by faith. To understand it, when push comes to shove, you don't understand it, when the circumstances show you that you won't succeed, and everything is showing that there's nothing here, you do not know what you're doing, you're just wasting your time. You lean on good old faith. You walk by faith and not by sight. Because if you're to rely on sight, you will allow the inner demons in your head to destroy you, and you will certainly be destroyed. But if you walk by faith, you are now going back to that thing I'm telling you, your God. Now, the one that wins for you is no longer you, but it is your God. The fact that now you know that your God, who is the God of Abraham, who is the God of Isaac, remember, he promised Abraham that your children shall be as many as the sands in the shore, as the sands in the sea, something like that. And this promise Abraham that is going to make Abraham rich. So the promise of God to be rich is a promise that you need to believe and take hold by faith, calling things that are not as if they are. That is why I'm saying I don't care about the gatekeepers. We will go to the gate and ask them to open. They will say, no, you need this and that. We will go there and get those things that this and that. When you get there, they want to look for another fourth. Say, no, but that. And then we go back and get that. On the third time or fourth time, they keep on saying, no, 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 no. Screw them. They can go to the nearest hell. They have made a terrible mistake, because we are going to drill under the earth just like a Tembisa rat. We're not going to go to the door anymore. We're going to go like a Tembisa rat. We're going to drill the earth. They're going to find us inside. They'll be like, how did we get inside? We're in the... we are inside. If they find us inside and they take us outside, they've made another mistake. We're gonna drill again another hole and get inside. If they take us out, we'll drill again and get inside. If they take us out for the third time, fourth time, we'll say, oh, so you don't want us inside. You don't want us by the door. It's very simple. We're no longer coming inside. We're building a whole new system. Holy is the Lord. My name is Ngobani Zulu. Thank you for watching this video.